morning all, welcome back to Sew Granny Sew. We are working on our 12 days of Christmas and we are on day number 3 for our third ornament. So I just went through my scrap bin and I had some random scraps here and I got to thinking, let's make an angel for this one. So I have 3 different colors which you'll need. You'll want one for the wings and the face, or the wings and the head. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of this beige scrap for that one. And then one for the front side and back side of the dress or gown or robe, however you want to say it. I have the pulled in the blues for that. And then I just have some scrap 80/20 poly cotton batting. And we'll use that for the wings and the head to give it a little extra thickness to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is line this up. Now I have a little bit of staining on this fabric. This is perfect for this. If you have that fabric that you don't know what to do with, that's perfect for this. And I am just, for the body, I'm just using a whip topping lid. Nothing fancy. We'll just put it on there and draw our circle around it. So now that we have that drawn on, we're just going to go ahead and pin those two together. And we will just cut around that circle. So once we have that cut out, we are going to put it right sides together. This is the blue that I had to put fusing on. If you watch that video, I got it and all cut out, and then I realized it was actually shirting cotton. So it was very, very thin, hard to quilt with. However, I'm using it for little things like this, so this will be perfect on this. Then we're just going to take that to the machine and we're going to go 1/4 inch in and sew all the way around. We are going to leave a little opening about 1 inch wide, maybe 1.5 inches at one edge. So be sure to do that. I'll just mark that quick. And then we'll make sure that we backstitch there and then go around and backstitch there. So I'll get that done and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so we have that sewn together. We'll go ahead and pull them pins out. Trim up those end threads. Outside edge, and we're going to snip that up to the seam, but without cutting it. I don't know, about every 1/2 inch or so. Just for those that don't know, this just kind of helps it lay a little flatter. I'm going to reach that inside there. I'm going to use my pencil. Once again, if you got a chopstick or something you want to use, that's perfectly fine. Run that through that opening there. Once we get that through, we'll go ahead and work that out. Once I get it turned the right way, I just use my pencil once again and go along those edges and make sure we got them nice and fully extended outward at that seam. Okay, then I just use this. I don't know if I can do this upside down, but I'll give it a try here. I just follow that same direction like it's going around in that circle and try to get that lined up the best I can to make it look the same. Okay, now we'll pull in our iron here. And we will roll out these seams all the way along and iron as we go. So we just rock it back and forth in our fingers. And then iron. I'm going to mark that opening with a pin, just so we know where that's at. And then we're just going to set this piece aside. And the next thing we're going to do is work on the wings. So the wings are nothing more than a heart. So if you can draw a heart, or if you got a heart die, Acad Quilt is great. They have heart dies. However you want to do it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my fabrics in half. And these just happen to be about 4.5 inches. Yeah, about 4.5 inches square. You don't need a certain size. You just want it big enough that because you're going to be sewing this. So I'm just going to fold it like this. And we are going to draw the shape of a half a heart on one side. Cut that out. Try to use up, when you're drawing that out, try to use up as much of that 4.5 inch space as you can, if that's the size you're using or whatever size you're using. Okay, and it doesn't have to be an exact heart because it won't be a heart. So I'm going to go ahead and take these to the sewing machine now. And I'm going to start at, you know, like right here. I'm going to start down here and leave an opening right here. So you want a little spot that you can flip this heart the right way. So that's what I drew in there for that opening. Now you can bat this as well if you want. And this would be a good time to cut that in, or I'm sorry, to cut that out and put that in there. So I'm just going to lay that on there and pin that right to the batting. Okay, for a few little hints when you're sewing. So when you're going to go 1/4 inch in and you're going to go around that. But when you get to here, you want your needle or down in the down position, and you're actually going to turn this so then it lines up with the 1/4 inch on your foot bead or whatever 1/4 inch marking you're using. So it lines up with that around there. I'm going to go ahead and sew mine up, and then down here, you know, it's the same thing. You're going to turn your piece rather than trying to get that angle right. You're just going to turn your piece. You're going to make sure that you back stitch on both sides of these, otherwise your fabric tends to stretch out of place and rips when you're turning it the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew mine on first, and then I'm going to take the pins out, and then I'll cut around on the get the batting cut down to size. So I will get that done, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I have this all sewn on. So we're going to take our scissors, and we're just going to cut that batting down to the size of this. Okay, so now that we got that done, I'm going to go ahead and trim those threads down there. So we want to take a notch. Instead of just making a slit there, we're going to take a notch out of that center piece. Now be sure you don't cut the stitching you just did on it, but you do want to take a notch as close to that center as you can without hitting the seam. And then of course you can round off those edges. And then once again you're going to go around and you're going to cut those slits in right up to the seam, but not cutting into the seam. Going to go ahead and we are going to open this up just like we did the circle. Once again, you can take your pencil. This one's a little bit harder because you got 3 layers and you got to make sure you're trying to push it out through the right layer there. Then reach in there and get the sides of the heart out. Okay, and because this is white fabric, blood or anything on it, and work my way around it with that, so I'm not marking up the fabric at all. So I know a lot of people struggle with getting these points of the heart, you know, like right here especially, so it doesn't pucker around it when you go to iron it flat, and that can be a real challenge. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. This one actually looks like it's laying flat pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and tuck that in then. But the key is to make sure that you have that cut out just up to that seam, but don't cut that seam. And that sometimes can be a hard challenge to get that so close but not go through. Okay, we'll pin that. We'll bring that iron board back over here, that wool mat. And then we're just going to do the same thing that we've done all along and roll that seam and iron it flat. Okay, and then we'll throw a pin in there where that opening is and get that marked so we don't forget that that's there. And set that aside. And that's the second piece down. The third piece we need to make is the head. Just gonna iron that. Hold that until it looks about the right size compared to this for a body. That will be the wings. So about, yeah, about like that for the head by the time we get it sewn together. So then we're just gonna fold that up. You know what, we can cut this here, that way it lays a little smoother. Okay, so now we're just gonna fold that over, fold it again in half the other way, and we are just gonna round off that edge right there. Okay, so it doesn't really look like a circle right now, but when we sew it, we're going to go 1/4 inch in, and we're going to sew all the way around it, leaving a little opening at whatever end you're going to have at the end. So I'm going to point my pin into that direction, telling me to leave a little opening. I'm not going to pat that, or I'm not going to add bedding to the head because I think it's going to be too small for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a 1/4 inch seam, making sure to back stitch at the beginning and the end, and leave the opening for turning, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so we have that all sewn together. It may not be the most perfect circle, but that's quite all right. Get those end threads cut off of there. Okay, I'm just going to kind of tidy up these edges here. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and go along there and snip those edges, just like you did with the other ones. Okay. Then we're going to turn that the right way, same way we did with the other ones. Roll those seams. This one's kind of small, so a little bit harder to roll those seams. And if you want to use some concealer or something and dab some on with a Q-tip or whatever to make her cheeks, you can make her a little hat. You can put a halo on or whatever you want to do. So the first thing you're going to do, you want to go to that side with this. You know what, I'm going to use a part that is not stained. Okay, so you're going to go fold that down like that. Put that on the iron, get that done. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a little bit of polyfill batting, and I'm going to stuff this to try to get these angles on the side to go away. And then I'll probably throw a little bit of a yarn or something on for hair. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuffed, and then I will meet you back here. Our wings are going to be on the back. So when we put those on, we're just going to stitch a straight seam right down the... So I'm going to draw 2 lines because I'm going to double stitch mine. So I'm going to get it like straight up and down from the center right here down to the center of that. And I'm going to line that up with the 1/4 inch mark. And then I'm just going to lightly draw that line enough that I can see, but it'll get covered up by the thread. And we'll line that line up with the 1/2 inch mark. And we will draw the other one in. It'll be attached on those 2 spots right there. Okay, so when we put these on, we are going to attach them to the back like this. And then, so I'm just going to throw a pin in there. And line it up at the bottom right there. Throw a pin in. So you can do, like I said, use some concealer and do that. The cheeks on there, give her some hair if you want, give her a halo. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this stitched on here. And then we'll come back and we'll do the hand sewing for the rest of it. Okay, so we have the angel wings stitched on. Yeah, kind of crease those open. You can iron them, do whatever you want. So then, once they're done like that, we're going to go ahead and, you know what, I think I'm going to get the head ready first. I'm going to get some blush put on her. And I'm going to go ahead and sew some yarn on there. And I'll bring you back to show you how I'm sewing the yarn on there. And then I'm going to put a halo on her head, I believe. I think I have some wire to do that with, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So once I get the head ready, then we'll come back and we'll stitch it on and get that closed up. And then our little angel will be done. So I'll bring you back here. I think between the two of them, we'll get some that match there. So that'll be perfect. I'm going to make her hair in blue. And that will really help out with covering up that shape. So if you don't get a perfect circle, you can always cover it up with a couple different ways. Just be creative. Okay, I think I'm going to go with the light blue for her hair. So I'm just going to cut pieces off once I find the end here. Probably go with that. That is about 7 inches. Let's get this started first. So I'm just going to get where I want this started at. And then we're just going to start tacking these down. So just find the middle of it. Hold it on there and sew it on. And we will just keep working on our way down the back, and then we'll tend to the front. I have some hair on this angel here. Set all this sheer and stuff aside. And all I did was I just pulled it, once I had it sewed on, I just went around to pull it back away from the head and sewed it into place. And then I just took the last, you can see it's wrapped with a piece of thread. So I just wrapped this string around there when I was sewing, did my final stitch. Then I took one long piece from the ponytail and wrapped it around there. And then I just separated out the plies for the yarn. Gives it a nice fluffy appearance. So her head is done. So you can fold it down to whatever point you like. You know, if you want it like that, you can certainly do that. I'm going to go just far enough that I miss that hair. So what I'm going to do, once I have it marked out where I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and pin that on. So I think maybe I will just go ahead and stitch that on with a sewing machine. And then if the neck shows at all, we can always just put an extra piece of white fabric in there, the same color as the angel. So I'll go ahead and stitch it on and I'll be right back. I got her hair, it's all done. Her wings are attached, her gown is attached. I did go through and found a little bit of vintage trim in my lace box. So I'm just gonna put that on there right at where I put the stitching on the neck. And I am just going to hot glue this. So I got my glue gun heating up here. Once we get that glued on here, we'll put a tack just on the outside of this to bring it down and fold it over that. And then when it goes out, then the lace will come up with it, but it'll still be attached at her neck. So she will be in that position. Now, the ones I saw made did not have a halo on, so I think we're just going to leave it like that without the halo. Okay, we should be good now. So we're just going to flip that over and put it right along that edge there. And put that right on that neck seam. And then when we fold it down, we're going to go as far out as we can. So I'm just going to put a dab onto the blue part so it catches it. Okay, and then we'll put a dot right there. Now, if you want to sew this, you certainly can. I did not want any of my threads showing. So then when you go to, and you don't have to add hair, like I said, you can, the way I seen it, it was just a round white head and nothing more added to it. You put a hook on the back of her, which we have plenty of hair that we can attach that hook to. So there she is, guys. She's all finished, other than we'll get some blush on her cheeks and put a hook on her. You'll have to let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Like I said, these were about a 4.5-inch piece. Those were probably about a 6-inch circle, and the base was maybe a 2-inch square. So it's another good way to use up some scrap if you have them. As always, guys, if you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we'd love to have you here at Sew Granny Sew. Thanks all. Have a good day.